All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. In this one, I wanted to kind of dive into this whole Minka Fitzpatrick alignment situation, right? It feels like it's been kind of a talking point. Talking to my buddies, it seems like this whole thing is really being blown out of proportion. And it really started with, a couple of tweets that basically summarizing his press conference with the Jets, right? When New York first acquired him. And he said that he expects to be playing in a similar role compared to last season, right? And it's totally fair to expect that because A, he's coming off a great season. B, he's a really, really good player. And C, two of the Jets' new coaches on the defensive side of the football, one, of course, Brian Duker, the new DC, these guys are coming in from Miami, so why do something differently, right? If you have something that works, don't try to reinvent the wheel, right? Quite frankly. And so the focus was, okay, Minka Fitzpatrick's going to be playing more in the slot, right? As that slot cornerback, more of a nickel player. And really since that point, there's been almost this at least from my perspective, like a lot of people that are like, whoa, well, what's going on? Is Brownlee useless now? Is he going to be on the bench? Well, great. We still need another safety. Should we invest pick 16 in a, true free safety if Minka Fitzpatrick's never going to play there? He's only going to be the slot corner. If we go back and we watch Fitzpatrick's presser, yeah, he said he expects to be playing in the slot, playing in the nickel, but he didn't talk to Coach Glenn. He didn't talk to any of the Jets defensive coordinators. He went on to say that he doesn't even know the defense that we're going to be running in. That's just his expectation. So I think the thought of, wow, Jarvis Brownlee's just a bench player now. He's never going to play for us, and we still need safeties because Fitzpatrick's not going to be playing safety. Again, to me, it just feels a little over the top. Like when we take a look at Minka Fitzpatrick throughout the years, even going back to Alabama, early days in Miami, all those seasons in Pittsburgh, last season at Miami, one of the coolest things about Minka Fitzpatrick, one of the reasons why he's so respected across the league from his peers and from coaches, is because he can wear so many different hats. He can do so many different things. He's versatile. Doesn't matter the scheme. Doesn't matter the alignment. Doesn't matter the position. Minka Fitzpatrick is like the definition of a DB. He can play slot. He can play free. He can play strong. He can play in the box. You can use him as a blitzing safety. You can play him as your deep, rangy center fielder safety way in the back, right? Like angel defense types of looks, right? Where you have that safety stretch so far back, kind of guarding the deep parts of the field. And you play the rest of your 10 guys up closer towards the line of scrimmage. Like Minka Fitzpatrick does not have to come off the field. That is the beauty with Minka. He's not a one-trick pony. He's not locked into a certain position. He's not locked into a specific scheme. He is flexible. He is versatile. He's like what? Like he could just move around, do a bunch of different things, right? Third down, first and long, red zone, again, blitzer, run stopper, passes defended against, like deep parts of the field. There's just so many, him as a communicator as well. I don't want Minka Fitzpatrick to come off of the field unless, of course, he needs a breather, right? I don't care about the down and distance. Fitzpatrick's good enough to play, and you can move him around as a coaching staff. He's true. This term gets thrown around a lot, but he's a true DB chess piece. And if we take a look at the exact snap alignments from last season for the Dolphins, he played free safety. He played strong safety. He played up in the box in run support. If we're trying to find a trend here, what we'll notice is he started off the season playing more so free safety. And as the season went on, around that midway point, he started to shift more so into that slot corner role. And also something to make a note of as well. If you want to run, one of the beauties of odd man fronts, 3-4 styles of defenses, you can get creative. If Minka Fitzpatrick's on the field and a quarterback sees Minka Fitzpatrick pre-snap, like, okay, where's he lining up? It doesn't really matter because Minka Fitzpatrick can do everything. He can drop into coverage. He can fly back, right? He can rush the passer. He can sit on the line of scrimmage and kind of wait, and then attack the run, right? I think Fitzpatrick does a good job of shedding blocks. If he lines up at nickel corner, he can certainly blitz. He can certainly hang with that slot wide receiver down the field. He can cover tight ends. You don't know what Minka's going to be doing. That is a huge, huge, huge benefit. One of the problems with this Jets defense throughout the course of really the Saleh era, and even this past season too, it's like you knew what these players are going to be doing, right? Just pick a random player. Carl Lawson, what was he doing? He's lining up on the edge and rushing the passer. CJ Mosley, he's going to play middle linebacker, cover that middle part of the field, come up and run support. That's what he's going to do. Sauce Gardner, he was going to play boundary corner and line up on one side of the field. And the Jets were like hesitant with moving him around, having him follow the number one. They kind of did it more so towards the end when jobs were on the line and stuff like that. But you just kind of felt like that creative aspect, the moving of positions, the versatility, seeing one thing doing another, that element just hasn't really been a part of this Jets team. Minkah Fitzpatrick gives you so many different looks, so many different options for smoke and mirrors. Just the mind games that he can play with the opposing quarterback is going to be huge, because there's nothing really you can pinpoint with Fitzpatrick. And again, that's the beauty of bringing in Fitzpatrick for a 7th round pick. I saw some complaints about the contract that he signed. 3 years, $40 million. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a great safety at 29 years old. He's the 13th highest paid safety. I mean, how many times, including myself, did you hear, the Jets are probably going to have to overpay to go get this guy, or overpay for that guy, to bring him onto the 3-win team? Fitzpatrick for $40 million in a season where the cap is going up again, and we've now exceeded $300 million per team for the salary cap. $40 million over the next 3 seasons for Minkah Fitzpatrick, and we only had to flip a 7th round pick. That is sweet. That is sweet. So I think the role of Fitzpatrick, again, should be praised. It should be put on a pedestal. Like, yes, this is really going to help out our defense. He can play slot. He can play free. He can play strong safety. We can do so many different things. And also, too, it's not like the offenses come out in the same formation every time. Like, I know 3-by-1's very popular, but what about 2-by-2? A very, very, very popular formation as well, right? Where you have a slot wide receiver, and you're going up against teams that have a real functioning receiving threat at the tight end position, right? 2-by-2 with the tight end and a slot wide receiver. You're going to need multiple guys that can cover from the inside. So I really just feel like it gives the Jets more. It doesn't take away from this Jets defense. I think it adds more value, more creativity, more versatility. Now, last quick point I want to end off on, and I appreciate you guys watching, but Glenn in the back end of his Lions career as DC ran a 4-3 defense, but the first season he ran a 3-4. Matt Patricia's style of defense, right? And the reason he did that was because the personnel was fit and built for that style, right? Because the seasons prior, Matt Patricia was the head coach, Bob Quinn was the GM. They were trying to emulate the New England Patriots defense. But Glenn ultimately wanted to switch over to the 4-3. And as they started adding players, guys like Aiden Hutchinson and whatnot, Aleem McNeil, they started to build out and kind of polish this system up under Aaron Glenn's vision. Now, I wonder, the reason why I bring this up, one of the recent trends of defensive football in the NFL is the big nickel position, right? The third safety. You look at Jonathan Gannon, that's what he's kind of known for, right? These past couple seasons with Arizona, using a ton of safeties. You can look at Seattle Seahawks, right? They just won the Super Bowl. Off the top of your head, think about this. How many defensive backs did Seattle use throughout the course of the season? How many guys actually impacted the defense? Tons of them. Let's just quickly go through the list. This, again, off the top of my head here: Tariq Woolen, Josh Jobe, Julian Love, Kobe Bryant, Devin Witherspoon, Nick Ebenwari. Okay, that's 6 defensive backs. Now, they lost a couple in free agency and whatnot. Kobe Bryant's no longer there. Tariq Woolen is no longer there. By the way, Tariq Woolen to the Eagles, such a good pickup for a 1-year deal. Like, I really like that addition. What did Bryant get? $40 million or something from Chicago? Point is, Seattle used a ton of DBs, and that wasn't because like guys are getting hurt and they're like, okay, you got to play now. It was by choice. There's this newer position that's happening in the NFL. It's been around in college for a long time, but it's the big nickel, again, star, whatever you want to call it, that these maybe undersized linebackers or bigger safeties that are good against the run and they can cover in the slot. They can just do a lot of different things. I mean, think about it. Seattle has Devin Witherspoon, who's one of the best slot corners, best inside corners in the game. And they still went out and selected Eamon Warry. Eamon Warry gets loaded into the team and has over 440 snaps at slot corner. The rest of the time, he's primarily a strong safety. And then Witherspoon, again, playing a ton in the slot, and then bounces to the bounces to boundary corner. So I mean, even look at Jesse Minter, right? Baltimore has Kyle Hamilton and first round pick from last year, one of my favorite players in the entire class, Malachi Starks from Georgia. They have Nate Wiggins at corner, Marlon Humphrey at corner, but they went out and they signed Jalen Hawkins. Coming off a great season, they signed him to a 2-year deal. And there was a report early on in the offseason that Jesse Minter was still focusing on trying to find another safety for the Baltimore Ravens because he wants to, kind of continue to lean into this big nickel third safety type of rotation, because it does give offenses a problem, right? So I wonder if Glenn is just simply looking at one of the most popular trends that's happening on the defensive side of the football. And also we have to keep in mind that Brian Branch was somebody who played a lot of strong safety and a lot of slot corner. So he has experience doing this, factoring in the five coaches on the defensive side of the football that have backgrounds in DBs. Duker, Glenn, Booker at nickel cornerback coach, right? We have now hired a nickel corner coach as a positional coach. That's not happening every single year with teams, right? So there is going to be a priority there. Not to mention retaining Chris Harris. He's still on staff. So I've been sitting here thinking, I'm like, you know what? Glenn is probably just looking at all these good, effective defenses, like you feel like that are the most cutting edge in 2025, 2026, and saying, what can we do to get to that point? Obviously, this past season was a joke on defense. We got to switch things up. We have to add more DBs. We have to take the football away. We have to be more consistent at stopping the run. And God, do we need to get after the passer? But from an alignment, from a system standpoint, I think he wants to just get more creative in the back end of the defense. And if Minkah Fitzpatrick is someone who, again, doesn't have to come off the field because of positional versatility, it just makes sense. I don't think this is the Jets coaching staff looking at Brownlee saying, he's not in our plans, he sucks, we don't want him anymore. I don't think it's them looking at Fitzpatrick and saying, we only want you at slot corner and you're never going to touch the safety position at all. I mean, we've done a lot with safety. So that's my guess. That is just my guess here. So I'm not looking at this whole Minka Fitzpatrick primarily as the slot corner as a negative, which by the way is not even confirmed yet. That was just Minka's expectation without even talking to the Jets coaches or even knowing the defense. But personally, man, I'm looking at it as a positive, as a modern positive. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.